She tested her husband by saying she got fired. But what she overheard next changed everything. Welcome back, beautiful souls, to another story that will touch the deepest corners of your heart. How have you been since our last journey together? I hope life has been treating you with the kindness you deserve. Before we dive into today's powerful tale of love, trust, and the unexpected ways our hearts can surprise us, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Like this video if these stories bring light to your day, and share it with someone who needs to remember that true love still exists in this world. Your comments about how these stories have touched your lives keep me going, so please don't be shy. Let me know you're here with us. Today's story asks a question that might be lurking in your own heart. How well do we really know the person sleeping beside us each night? Amelia Chen stared at her reflection in the bathroom mirror, practicing the words that would either confirm her worst fears or prove her wrong. David, I got fired today. She whispered it again, watching her face contort into what she hoped looked like genuine distress. The lie tasted bitter on her tongue, but the doubt that had been gnawing at her for months tasted worse. She adjusted her blazer, the same charcoal gray one she'd worn to her very real job at Morrison & Associates that morning, where she'd actually received praise for landing the Henderson account. Her hands trembled as she tucked a strand of black hair behind her ear. 5 years of marriage, and here she was, about to test the man who'd promised to love her for better or worse. The plan had formed during lunch with her sister 3 days ago. You never really know a man until money gets tight, Sophia had said, stirring her overpriced latte. Remember what happened with Dad? The second Mom lost her job at the factory, he was gone. Didn't even wait for the unemployment checks to start. Amelia had defended David then, but the seed was planted. Their life was comfortable, dual incomes, a modest suburban home, plans for children when they were more financially stable. But what if that stability crumbled? What if she became a burden instead of a partner? She gripped the marble countertop, remembering her father's words as he'd packed his suitcase 23 years ago. I can't carry dead weight, Linda. A man has his limits. Her mother's sobs had echoed through their tiny apartment for months afterward. You're not your mother, Amelia whispered to her reflection. And David isn't your father. But wasn't he? The doubt whispered back. Every man had a breaking point. Every promise had fine print. Meanwhile, across town in a glass office building, David Chun was having his own moment of reflection. He stood by the window of the break room, watching the city bustle below while his coffee grew cold in his hands. His colleague Marcus had just finished another rant about his high-maintenance wife and her spending habits. I swear if Jennifer lost her job tomorrow, I'd have to put her on an allowance like a teenager. Marcus had laughed, not noticing David's frown. That's your wife, not your dependent, David had said quietly, but Marcus just shrugged. Same difference when you're the one paying all the bills, buddy. David had walked away from that conversation feeling unsettled. He thought about Amelia, brilliant, driven Amelia who'd graduated summa cum laude, who color-coded their household budget spreadsheets, who sometimes worked late into the night perfecting presentations. The idea of reducing her to a financial burden made his stomach turn. His phone buzzed. A text from Amelia. Can we talk when you get home? Something happened at work today. His heart skipped. Her company had been downsizing. Just last month, they'd let go of an entire department. He typed back quickly. Of course. Leaving now. Love you. As he gathered his things, David's mind was already racing. If she'd lost her job, they'd figure it out. They had savings. He could take on extra projects. His brother had mentioned needing help with his construction business on weekends. Whatever it took. Heading out early? His supervisor, Janet, asked as he passed her office. Family thing, David said, already halfway to the elevator. The wife's got you well trained, she joked. No, David said, turning back with unusual seriousness. My wife's got me well loved. There's a difference. Back at their 2-story colonial, Amelia paced the living room. She'd changed into casual clothes, jeans and the old Columbia University sweatshirt David had given her when they were dating. The house felt different when you were lying in it, like the walls themselves knew and disapproved. She'd already hidden her work laptop, and the celebration champagne her boss had given her for landing the Henderson account. The irony wasn't lost on her. The best day of her career was about to become a fictional worst day. The garage door rumbled open at 5:47 p.m., a full hour earlier than usual. David never left work early. The guilt twisted deeper. She positioned herself on the couch, tissue box strategically placed on the coffee table. Her heart hammered as she heard his keys in the door, his familiar footsteps in the hallway. This was it, the moment that would reveal everything. Mel. His voice carried worry as he rounded the corner. Honey, what's wrong? He looked so concerned, so genuinely upset at the thought of her distress, that for a moment she almost abandoned the plan. His tie was loosened, his usually perfect hair slightly mussed from what must have been an anxious drive home. When had this good man become someone she needed to test? David, she began, her voice cracking with real emotion now, guilt and fear and self-loathing mixing into something that probably looked exactly like devastation. I got fired today. The words hung in the air between them like a challenge. She watched his face, cataloging every micro-expression, waiting for the flash of anger, the moment of calculation, the first sign of withdrawal. Instead, David crossed the room in 3 quick strides and pulled her into his arms. Oh, honey, he murmured into her hair. I'm so sorry. Are you okay? What happened? She let herself sink into his embrace for just a moment before pulling back to deliver the practiced details. Budget cuts. They let go of 6 of us from the accounts team. Effective immediately. They gave us 2 weeks severance, but... She let her voice trail off, watching his face. David's jaw tightened, but not in the way she'd expected. Those bastards, he said quietly. After everything you've done for that company. Did they give you any warning? No, she lied, the word ash in her mouth. Security escorted us out. I couldn't even get my personal items from my desk. We'll get your things, David said firmly. I'll go down there myself if I have to. But right now, I need you to hear something, okay? He cupped her face in his hands, his brown eyes intense and unwavering. This changes nothing between us. Nothing. We're a team, Amelia Chun, and teams don't abandon each other when things get tough. The words were perfect. Too perfect. She searched his face for cracks in the facade, for the moment when reality would set in and he'd start calculating their mortgage payments against his single salary. But David, financially. We'll figure it out, he interrupted. We have savings. I can take on extra projects. Hell, I'll deliver pizzas at night if I have to. But you, he pressed his forehead against hers. You just focus on being okay. Jobs come and go, Mel. But you're irreplaceable. She wanted to believe him. God, how she wanted to believe him. But her father had said beautiful things too, before the bills started piling up. I should update my resume tonight, she said, testing. Start applying immediately. Tomorrow, David said softly. Tonight, you just let me take care of you. When's the last time you ate? She couldn't remember. Too nervous about the lie to eat lunch. This morning, I think. Okay, here's what we're going to do. You're going to take a hot shower, put on your comfiest pajamas, and I'm going to make you that ridiculous amount of pasta you love. We'll eat too many carbs, watch terrible reality TV, and not think about any of this until tomorrow. Deal? She nodded, not trusting her voice. He kissed her forehead and headed toward the kitchen, already rolling up his sleeves. David, she called after him. He turned back. Yeah, aren't you worried? About money. He was quiet for a moment, and she held her breath. This was it. This was when the mask would slip. You know what I'm worried about? He said finally. I'm worried that you've been unhappy at that job for months and didn't feel like you could tell me. I'm worried that you think your value to me has anything to do with your paycheck. And I'm worried that right now, you're sitting there thinking this changes how I feel about you. He walked back to her, kneeling in front of the couch so they were eye level. Amelia, I need you to hear this. Really hear it. I didn't marry you for your earning potential. I married you because you laugh at my terrible jokes, because you cry at dog food commercials, because you eat pineapple on pizza like a complete weirdo. I married you because when I imagine my life without you, it's not a life worth living. But, no buts. We're going to be fine. Better than fine. Maybe this is a blessing in disguise. You've been stressed for months. Maybe this is the universe telling you to take a breath, figure out what you really want to do. She felt tears building, real ones now. You make it sound so simple. Because it is simple, he said. I love you. You lost your job. The first thing doesn't change because of the second thing. Now go shower before I carry you there myself. She stood on shaky legs, the weight of her deception already crushing. As she headed toward the stairs, she heard him in the kitchen, humming off-key while he rattled pots and pans. The same song he always hummed when he cooked. their first dance song from their wedding. In the shower, she let the hot water mix with her tears. What kind of person was she? What kind of wife tested her husband's love like some sort of lab experiment? The man was literally making her comfort food while she conducted emotional espionage. She stayed in the shower, longer than necessary, trying to wash away the guilt. When she finally emerged, she could smell garlic and herbs wafting up from the kitchen. David had lit candles throughout the house, their fancy dinner candles that they usually saved for anniversaries and birthdays. She padded downstairs in her oldest pajamas, flannel pants with cartoon penguins, and a threadbare t-shirt from their honeymoon in Hawaii. David had changed too, into jeans and the Syracuse University hoodie she'd bought him last Christmas. Perfect timing, he said, not turning from the stove. Grab the wine? I opened that Pinot Noir you've been saving. David, we shouldn't. That was expensive. He turned then, wooden spoon still in hand. Hey, what did I say about tonight? No worrying about money. We're not going to become those couples who stop living their lives every time something goes wrong. She retrieved the wine, noting he'd already set the dining room table with their good plates. The ones they'd registered for but rarely used. You didn't have to go to all this trouble. It's not trouble, he said, bringing over 2 steaming bowls of fettuccine alfredo with grilled chicken and broccoli, her comfort meal since college. Besides, I've been meaning to tell you something anyway, and this seems like good timing. Her heart stopped. Here it was. The other shoe. He'd been planning to leave, or he'd lost his job too, or... I got a raise, he said, sitting across from her. Found out this morning. It's not huge, but it's something. 15%, plus they're increasing my project bonus structure. She stared at him. David, that's amazing. Why didn't you tell me immediately? He shrugged, twirling pasta on his fork. I was going to surprise you this weekend. Take you to that new Italian place downtown. But now, he reached across the table, taking her hand. Now it feels like the universe is looking out for us. Like maybe this happened for a reason. You can't think your raise makes up for my entire salary, she said, the words coming out sharper than intended. Of course not, he said patiently. But it helps. And Mel, can I be honest about something? She nodded, not trusting her voice. You've been miserable at Morrison for months. You come home tense, you work weekends, you've had stress headaches almost every week. Maybe this is your chance to find something better. Or even take some time to figure out what you really want. We can't afford for me to be picky. Yes, he interrupted firmly. We can. That's what savings are for. That's what partnerships are for. When I was laid off 3 years ago, you carried us for 4 months without a single complaint. That was different, she protested. The economy was bad, it wasn't your fault. And this isn't your fault either. He squeezed her hand. Even if it was, it wouldn't matter. We're married, Amelia. Your problems are my problems. Your wins are my wins. That's the deal. They ate in comfortable silence for a few minutes, the pasta warming her from the inside. David kept refilling her wine glass, telling her about his day, making her laugh with his impression of Marcus from accounting. It was so normal, so them, that she almost forgot she was supposed to be devastated about losing her job. I should call my mom, she said suddenly. Let her know. Tomorrow, David said. You know she'll want to problem solve immediately, and you need one night to just process. He was right. Her mother would launch into fix-it mode, probably offer money they didn't need, definitely bring up her cousin who was hiring at his insurance firm. The thought of adding more lies to this situation made her stomach turn. What about your family? She asked. Shouldn't we tell them? David shook his head. Not yet. This is our business, not theirs. Besides, you know my brother. He'd probably offer you a job at the construction company, and then I'd have to explain why my wife with a master's degree doesn't want to operate a forklift. She laughed despite herself. Your brother means well. They all do. But right now, this is just about us. We'll figure out our game plan, and then we'll tell people. Together. Unified front, remember? After dinner, he wouldn't let her help with dishes. House rule, he said, guiding her to the couch. The unemployed spouse doesn't do chores on day one. You get at least a week of wallowing privileges. I don't want to wallow, she said, curling into his side as he queued up their guilty pleasure, a reality show about terrible wedding planners. Then don't. But know that you can if you need to. I've got you, Mel. For as long as you need. They watched 2 episodes, David providing running commentary that had her laughing despite the guilt eating at her insides. During a commercial break, She noticed him texting but didn't think much of it. Probably work emails. I'm going to grab some water, he said during the third episode. Want anything? I'm good, she said, already missing his warmth as he stood. She heard him in the kitchen, the low murmur of his voice. Was he on the phone? At 9 p.m.? She muted the TV, straining to hear. Tomorrow morning would be better, David was saying. I know it's short notice. Yeah, family emergency. I appreciate it, Janet. I'll make up the hours next week. He was calling out of work. For her. The guilt threatened to choke her. When he returned, she pretended to be engrossed in the show. Everything okay? Yeah, just needed to send a quick email, he said, settling back beside her. Actually, I'm thinking of taking tomorrow off. Thought we could sleep in, make breakfast, maybe update your LinkedIn together. Unless you'd rather have space. No, she said quickly. No, I'd like you here. It wasn't a lie. Even in the middle of her deception, she wanted him close. Needed him close. What kind of twisted person did that make her? Good, he said, kissing the top of her head. Because I already called out. David, you didn't have to. I wanted to. You've been there for every one of my crises, Mel. Let me be here for yours. They stayed up later than usual, David clearly trying to keep her spirits up. He told stories from work, planned out ridiculous backup careers for her. Food critic was his favorite, since she had very strong opinions about pasta, and held her when she pretended to get emotional about her fictional job loss. Finally, around 11 p.m., she yawned dramatically. I think I'm ready for bed. Good idea, he said, turning off the TV. Big day of doing absolutely nothing tomorrow. As they headed upstairs, she noticed him grab his phone from the coffee table, checking it with a slight frown. More work emails, probably. The man who never took sick days was taking a personal day for her fake crisis. In their bedroom, as she brushed her teeth, she could hear him in the bedroom, the low murmur of another phone call. Who was he talking to this late? She spit out toothpaste and crept closer to the door. Appreciate you understanding, David was saying. I know it's a big ask. Yeah, the sooner the better. No, she doesn't know. I want it to be a surprise. Her blood ran cold. A surprise? What kind of surprise? Was he already planning for their new single-income life? Selling something? Her mind raced with possibilities, each worse than the last. She flushed the toilet loudly to announce her presence and walked out to find him sitting on the bed, phone nowhere in sight. Everything okay? She asked, trying to sound casual. Perfect, he said, but there was something in his eyes, a planning look she recognized from when he'd surprised her for her birthday last year. Come here. She climbed into bed, letting him pull her close. His arms around her felt like safety and accusation all at once. I love you, he whispered in the darkness. Whatever happens, remember that. I love you too, she whispered back, and at least that was true. She lay awake long after his breathing evened out into sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw his face when she'd told him. Not disappointed or calculating, just concerned for her. She'd expected him to show his true colors. But what if these were his true colors? What if she was the one showing hers? Around 2 a.m., David shifted in his sleep, murmuring something. She froze, listening. Sell it if we have to, he mumbled. She's worth more. Even unconscious, he was trying to take care of her. She pressed her face into her pillow to muffle a sob. By 3 a.m., she'd made a decision. Tomorrow, she'd tell him the truth. Face whatever anger he had every right to feel. She couldn't do this to him, to them, for another day. But as dawn light crept through their curtains, she woke to find David already up, sitting on the edge of the bed with his phone. Did I wake you? He asked softly. Sorry, I was just... He paused, seeming to wrestle with something. Actually, I need to run a quick errand. 20 minutes, tops. Go back to sleep. At 6 a.m.? She sat up, confused. David, what's going on? Trust me, he said, already pulling on jeans. I promise, 20 minutes. There's fresh coffee downstairs. Before she could protest, he kissed her forehead and was gone. She heard his car pull out of the garage, leaving her alone with her guilt and growing suspicion. Unable to go back to sleep, she wandered downstairs. True to his word, there was fresh coffee, and he'd left a note on the counter. Don't worry. Everything's going to be okay. D. She poured a cup with shaking hands. What was he up to? What kind of errand required leaving at dawn the day after your wife lost her job? Her phone buzzed. A text from her sister. How did it go? Did you tell him? She stared at the message, thumb hovering over the keyboard. Before she could respond, she heard David's car in the driveway. Whatever he'd been doing, he was back. But when he walked through the door, he wasn't alone. "Surprise," he said weakly, as his brother Jake followed him in, carrying a toolbox. "Hey, Amelia," Jake said, looking uncomfortable. "Sorry to hear about the job. David said you might need some cheering up. So," he gestured vaguely at the toolbox. "We're fixing the bathroom," David explained quickly. "The one upstairs you've been wanting to renovate? Jake's giving us the family discount on labor, and I figured, well, you'll be home for a bit, might as well tackle some house projects." She stared at them both, coffee cup frozen halfway to her lips. "You're renovating our bathroom? Now? Bad timing?" David asked, suddenly uncertain. "I thought it might be a good distraction. Plus, Jake had a cancellation this morning and—" "I can come back another time," Jake interrupted, clearly sensing tension. "David, maybe we should." "No," Amelia said quickly. "No, it's sweet. Thank you. Both of you." Jake headed upstairs to assess the bathroom, leaving them alone in the kitchen. "I'm sorry," David said. "I should have asked first. I just thought, you mentioned wanting to update that bathroom for months, and I wanted to do something to make you smile. You called your brother at dawn to renovate our bathroom because I lost my job," she said slowly. "Actually, I called him last night, right after dinner, and again this morning to confirm." He rubbed the back of his neck, a gesture she recognized as nervousness. "I might have also called a few other people. David, my cousin who works in HR at that tech startup downtown. My old college roommate who's a headhunter. Oh, and my mom, but only because she knows someone in your field and—" "You called your mother?" Amelia felt faint. I know. You said not to tell family yet. But she doesn't know you were fired, just that you might be looking for new opportunities." "I was vague." He stepped closer, taking her free hand. "I couldn't sleep last night. I kept thinking about how unfair this is, how hard you've worked, and I needed to do something. I needed to feel useful." She set down her coffee cup before she dropped it. This man, this beautiful, infuriating, perfect man, had spent the night networking for her fictional job loss while she'd been wallowing in guilt about testing him. "David," she started, but Jake's voice from upstairs interrupted. "Hey, David, you might want to see this. The pipe situation is worse than we thought." David squeezed her hand. "Be right back. And Mel, we're going to get through this. I promise." As he headed upstairs, Amelia sank into a kitchen chair. She could hear the brothers discussing water damage and contractor rates, David asking about payment plans without hesitation. He was prepared to go into debt to fix a bathroom, just to cheer her up. Her phone rang. Her mother. Against her better judgment, she answered. "Hi, Mom. Amelia. I just got off the phone with Cousin Robert. He says his firm might have an opening in their accounts department. I told him you'd send your resume today. Mom. And Mrs. Chun from church, her daughter works at that big marketing firm downtown. I can get you an introduction. Oh, and I'm transferring some money to your account, just to help with bills." "Mom, stop." Amelia closed her eyes. "I don't need money. Don't be proud, sweetheart. I know David's a good man, but it's hard on a marriage when money gets tight. Remember what happened with your father. David's not Dad," Amelia said firmly. He's calling contractors at dawn and networking before breakfast and—" Her voice cracked. "He's being amazing, Mom." There was a pause. "Oh, sweetheart. You got a good one, didn't you?" "Yeah," Amelia whispered. "I did." After promising to keep her mother updated, she hung up and climbed the stairs. She found David and Jake in the guest bathroom, Jake pointing at water stains while David took notes on his phone. "Probably looking at $5,000 if we do it right," Jake was saying. "But I can spread the labor costs over a few months, and—" "We'll take it out of savings," David said without hesitation. "This is why we have emergency funds." "Bathroom renovation isn't exactly an emergency," Jake pointed out. "My wife's happiness is," David replied simply. Amelia must have made a sound because both men turned. Jake, bless him, immediately excused himself to get more tools from his truck. $5,000, she said weakly. David crossed to her, cupping her face. "Hey, we talked about this. No money worries today, remember? Besides, the bathroom needs work anyway. The timing just means you can be here to make sure Jake doesn't install those ugly fixtures his wife likes." She laughed despite herself, then burst into tears. "Oh, honey, David pulled her close. It's okay. I know this is overwhelming. I don't deserve you, she sobbed into his chest. What? Mel, no. You're in shock. Yesterday you had a job. Today everything's different. But you deserve good things. You deserve a husband who puts you first, a beautiful bathroom, and a job that actually values you. His words made her cry harder. He just held her, rubbing her back, murmuring reassurances about their future while she soaked his shirt with guilty tears. I need to tell you something, she said finally, pulling back. But before she could continue, Jake returned with supplies, and then David's phone rang, his cousin with job leads, and the moment was lost in a flurry of activity. Have you ever tested someone's love only to discover it was stronger than you imagined? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience might help someone else who's struggling with trust. The morning became a blur of phone calls, emails, and construction noise. David fielded every call like her personal assistant, taking detailed notes about job opportunities while Jake hammered away upstairs. She tried several times to get David alone, to confess, but the universe seemed determined to stop her. By noon, she was exhausted from the weight of her lie. David, meanwhile, seemed energized by his mission to fix her life. He'd created a spreadsheet of job opportunities, complete with application deadlines and contact information. I'm thinking we update your resume this afternoon, he said over sandwiches. Jake will be done with the demo by then, so it'll be quieter. David. Oh, and my mom wants to have us over for dinner Sunday. I told her we'd let her know, depending on how you're feeling. David. Also, I've been thinking, maybe we should postpone the vacation we planned for next month. Save the money until you're settled in a new position. David, stop. She put her hand over his. Please, just stop for a minute. He looked at her, concern flooding his features. What's wrong? Am I overwhelming you? I'm overwhelming you. I'm sorry, You're being perfect, she said miserably. That's what's wrong. You're being absolutely perfect, and Jake's voice boomed from upstairs. David, got a problem here. This pipe's completely corroded. David squeezed her hand. Hold that thought. He gestured upstairs. She nodded, watching him take the stairs 2 at a time. The universe was either trying to save her from confession or prolonging her torture. Either way, she couldn't take much more. Her phone buzzed. Another text from Sophia. So? Did he show his true colors? I need details. She stared at the message, then typed back. He showed his true colors all right. Just not what we expected. What does that mean? Before she could respond, she heard David's voice from upstairs, low and serious. She crept to the bottom of the stairs to listen. Take out a loan if we have to, David was saying. No, Jake, I'm serious. This is important, because she needs something good right now, okay? She needs to know that life isn't just about things being taken away. Yeah, I know it's a lot of money. I don't care. She pressed her hand to her mouth. He was willing to go into debt to renovate a bathroom, just to make her happy after losing a job she never lost. Sell my bike if necessary, David continued. The Harley. Yeah, I'm serious. Jake, she's my wife. The bike's just a thing. The Harley. His precious motorcycle that he'd saved for 5 years to buy. That he washed by hand every weekend. That he'd taught her to ride on their 3rd anniversary. She couldn't breathe. She ran to the downstairs bathroom, closing the door behind her just as sobs overtook her. What kind of monster was she? This man was preparing to sell his most prized possession for her fate crisis. A soft knock. Mel, you okay in there? Just a minute, she managed. Take your time. I'll be in the kitchen when you're ready. She splashed cold water on her face, trying to pull herself together. In the mirror, she looked exactly like someone who'd lost their job. Red eyes, blotchy face, shaky hands. The perfect picture of distress, all of it self-inflicted. When she finally emerged, she found David in the kitchen, laptop open, typing intently. What are you doing? She asked. Updating my LinkedIn, he said without looking up. Adding my freelance availability. If you're going to be job hunting, maybe I can pick up some extra projects. Every little bit helps. David, no. You don't need to. Already got a response, he interrupted, showing her the screen. Remember that startup I consulted for last year? They need someone for a weekend project. It's not much, but... She slammed the laptop closed. David blinked at her, startled. Mel, I need to tell you something, she said. Right now. Before you do anything else. Okay. He turned to face her fully, giving her his complete attention. What is it? She opened her mouth, but the words wouldn't come. How did you tell someone who was literally rearranging his life for your lie that it was all fake? She swallowed hard. I need some air. Can we go for a walk? Of course. He was already standing, reaching for her jacket. Fresh air is good. We can walk to the park. No. She needed to be away from the house, from Jake's hammering, from all the evidence of David's love. Let's drive somewhere. The lake maybe. Whatever you need, he said, grabbing his keys. The drive to Riverside Lake was quiet. David kept shooting her concerned glances, but didn't push. He'd turned on her favorite playlist, the one full of songs from their dating days, and kept one hand on her knee while he drove. The lake was nearly empty on a Thursday afternoon. They parked and walked to their usual bench, the one where they'd had their first kiss 8 years ago, where he'd proposed 3 years later, where they'd come to celebrate promotions and mourn losses. This is where you told me your dad died, David said quietly, reading her mood. And where I told you about losing the Peterson account. Our bench for big conversations. She nodded, unable to speak past the lump in her throat. Whatever it is, he said, taking her hand, we'll handle it together. Did something else happen? Is it worse than just the job? Yes, she whispered. So much worse. His hand tightened on hers. Are you sick? Is it your mom? No, nothing like that. David, she turned to face him, memorizing his concerned face before it transformed into hurt and anger. I lied to you. His brow furrowed. About what? Everything. The job. I didn't get fired. I never got fired. I still have my job. Actually, I got praised yesterday. Landed a big account. The words tumbled out in a rush. I made it all up. David stared at her, his hand still in hers but frozen now. You what? I tested you, she said miserably. Like some horrible reality show. I wanted to see how you'd react if I lost my job. If you'd still love me if I wasn't contributing financially. He pulled his hand away slowly, and the loss of contact felt like a physical blow. You tested me, he repeated flatly. My sister said, and then my dad, I just needed to know. You needed to know what? His voice was quiet, controlled, but she could see the hurt building in his eyes. If I was the kind of man who'd abandon his wife over money? I'm so sorry. Do you know what I did last night? He stood abruptly, pacing to the lake's edge. I lay awake calculating our budget, figuring out what we could cut. I called my brother at 11 p.m. to beg for a family discount on that bathroom, because I thought it would make you happy. I emailed my boss at midnight to use my vacation days, so I could be with you today. David, I called my mother, he continued, his back to her. Do you understand what that means? I called my mother and admitted we might need help. Me, the son who's never asked for anything since Dad died, because I thought my wife needed me to swallow my pride. She stood, reaching for him, but he stepped away. Don't, he said quietly. Just don't. Not right now. They stood in silence, watching ducks glide across the water. Finally, David spoke again. Do you know what the worst part is? He turned to face her, and the pain in his eyes made her stomach drop. It's not that you lied. It's not even that you tested me. It's that after 5 years of marriage, you still don't know me. You still think I'm capable of being your father. I don't. Yes, you do. Otherwise, why the test? What have I ever done to make you think my love was conditional? She had no answer. He was right. In 5 years, he'd never given her a reason to doubt him. This was all her damage, her baggage, her fear. I need some time, David said finally. I'm going to walk around the lake. Please don't follow me. She watched him go, his shoulders tense, hands shoved in his pockets. She sank back onto their bench, their special bench that she'd probably ruined forever, and let the tears come. How did you come back from this? How did you rebuild trust when you were the one who'd broken it? Her phone rang. Jake's name on the screen. Hey, Amelia. Where'd David go? I need to ask him about the fixture preferences. He went for a walk. Everything okay? He seemed pretty intense this morning about getting this done fast. Jake, can I ask you something? Sure. When David called you last night, what exactly did he say? Jake was quiet for a moment. He said you'd had a rough day and he wanted to do something special for you. Said money might be tight for a while, but he didn't care. Offered to pay me in installments if needed. He paused. He also said something else. What? He said, she's the best thing that ever happened to me, Jake. I need to remind her that she's worth more than any job. Amelia closed her eyes, fresh tears falling. Did something happen? Jake asked, concerned now. I messed up, she admitted. I really, really messed up. Want to talk about it? I lied to him, Jake. About something big. And now, I don't know how to fix it. Jake sighed. Can I tell you something about my brother? Yeah. David doesn't forgive easy. When someone breaks his trust, it's like something breaks inside him. But here's the thing. He loves you more than he's ever loved anyone. I've watched him with you. You made him believe in forever again after Dad died. So whatever you did, be honest about why. And then give him time. What if he doesn't forgive me? Then you'll know you really screwed up, Jake said bluntly. But Amelia, I've seen him look at you. That man would forgive you for murder if you had a good enough reason. After Jake hung up, Amelia sat alone, watching David's distant figure walking the far shore. She pulled out her phone and scrolled through their photos. Their wedding day, vacations, random Tuesday dinners. In every photo, David looked at her like she hung the moon. When had she stopped believing in that look? 20 minutes later, David returned. He sat beside her on the bench, careful not to touch her. I need to understand, he said quietly. Help me understand why. So she told him. About her father's abandonment. About the fear that lived in her chest like a second heartbeat. About Sophia's warning and the voice in her head that said she was too damaged to deserve unconditional love. David listened without interrupting, his face a mask she couldn't read. I know it doesn't excuse it, she finished. I know I hurt you. I know I broke something between us. I needed to know you wouldn't leave. And I realize how stupid that sounds now, because in trying to prove you wouldn't leave, I gave you a reason to. I'm not leaving, David said quietly. Her head snapped up. You're not. No. He finally looked at her, and the exhaustion in his eyes was worse than anger. But I need you to understand something. You didn't just lie to me. You made me perform for you. Like a circus animal jumping through hoops to prove its worth. Do you know how that feels? Awful, she whispered. It feels awful. I know because I've been sick about it since yesterday. Yesterday, he repeated. You felt guilty for one day. I've spent the last 18 hours rearranging our entire life for a lie. I know. I was going to sell my bike, he interrupted. Did you hear that part? When I was talking to Jake, I was going to sell the Harley. The one thing I bought for myself after Dad died. My one selfish purchase in our entire marriage. David. And I was okay with it. Happy to do it, even. Because I thought you needed me to. Because I thought we were a team facing a crisis together. He ran his hands through his hair. But we weren't a team, were we? You were the director and I was the actor, and I didn't even know I was in a play. They sat in silence as joggers passed, dogs barked. Life continued around them. What happens now? Amelia asked finally. I don't know, David admitted. I love you. That hasn't changed. But trust is harder. How do I earn it back? I don't know that either. He stood, offering her his hand. But maybe we start with you calling Jake and telling him to stop the renovation. And then you can call everyone I contacted about jobs and tell them the truth. She took his hand, noting he didn't intertwine their fingers like usual. All of them. Every single one. My mom, my cousin, my old roommate. You can explain how you made me look like an idiot to everyone I care about. The words stung because they were true. Okay, I'll do it. And therapy, he added as they walked to the car. Individual for you, to figure out why you're so convinced I'm going to abandon you. And couples for us, to figure out if we can move past this. Yes, whatever you need. He stopped at the car, turning to face her. What I need is a wife who trusts me. Can you be that? I want to be, she said honestly. I'll do whatever it takes to become her. He nodded, opening her door for her. Still a gentleman even in his hurt. The drive home was silent, but it was a different silence than before. This one held possibility, even if it also held pain. As they pulled into their driveway, Amelia saw Jake's truck still there. Her stomach twisted at the thought of explaining to her brother-in-law that his emergency renovation was based on a lie. I'll talk to Jake, David said, reading her expression. You start making those calls. David. She caught his arm as he headed for the door. I know I have no right to ask, but are we going to be okay? He was quiet for a long moment. I don't know, he said finally. But I know I want us to be. That has to count for something, right? She nodded, tears threatening again. I love you. I know I have a terrible way of showing it, but I do. I know, he said softly. That's why this hurts so much. Inside, She could hear Jake's music playing upstairs. David headed up to deal with his brother while she sat at the kitchen table with her phone, dreading the calls she had to make. She started with David's mother. "Amelia, how are you holding up, dear? David told me about the job situation. I was just talking to Mrs. Chun. I need to tell you something. I didn't lose my job. I lied to David about it." The silence on the other end was deafening. "I see," his mother said finally, her voice cool. "And why would you do something like that?" "Because I'm scared and damaged, and I needed to know he'd stay even if I had nothing to offer." The truth came easier now, like a dam breaking. "Because my father left when my mother lost her job, and I've been waiting for David to do the same for 5 years." "Oh, Amelia." His mother's voice softened slightly. "You foolish girl. Don't you know by now? Chin men don't leave. They stay and they fix and they love until it kills them. I thought you understood that about my son." "I'm learning," Amelia whispered. "Too late, but I'm learning." "It's never too late while you're both still fighting for it," Mrs. Chin said. "Is he very angry? Hurt? Which is worse?" "Yes, it is. David feels everything so deeply. Even as a boy." She trailed off. "Well, you'll make this right. And if you need help, you call me." "Not him, he's too proud. But you call me." "Why would you help me after what I did?" "Because you're family," Mrs. Chin said simply. "And because everyone deserves a second chance to get love right." The next calls were harder. David's cousin was confused. His college roommate was awkward. Each confession felt like another layer of shame, but also strangely like penance. She was finishing the last call when David came back downstairs, Jake behind him. "All sorted," Jake said, though he gave Amelia a long look. "I'll patch the demo work and send you a bill for today." "Thanks," she said quietly. "And Jake?" "I'm sorry." He nodded. "We all make mistakes. Just don't hurt him again, okay? He's the best of us." After Jake left, David sat across from her at the table. "Done with the calls?" "Yes. Your mother wants to have us for dinner Sunday still. She says Chin men don't leave." A ghost of a smile crossed his face. She would say that. He drummed his fingers on the table. "I've been thinking about what I need to move forward." "Tell me." "First, therapy. Non-negotiable. You need to deal with your father stuff." "Already looking for therapists," she said, showing him her phone. "Second, no more tests. Ever. No tricks, no manipulations, no checking to see if I'm trustworthy. If you have doubts, you talk to me." "Agreed. Never again." "Third," he paused, seeming to gather himself. "I need you to tell me why I should believe you won't do this again. Not apologies, not promises. I need to understand what's going to be different." Amelia took a deep breath. This was it. The moment that would determine their future. "For 23 years, I've been waiting for someone to leave," she began. "Every relationship, every friendship, I've held my breath waiting for the moment they'd realize I wasn't worth staying for. And you know what I learned today?" "What?" "That I've been so busy protecting myself from imaginary abandonment that I almost created real abandonment. I almost lost the one person who's never given me a reason to doubt him because I couldn't stop doubting myself." She reached across the table, not quite touching his hand but close. "What's different is that now I know what it feels like to actually lose you. Not in my fears or my imagination, but really lose you. The look on your face at the lake. David, I never want to cause that look again." "That's not enough," he said quietly. "Fear of consequences isn't the same as trust." "You're right." She pulled her hand back. "Can I show you something?" At his nod, she went to the living room and retrieved a box from the bookshelf. Inside were cards, letters, printed emails. 5 years of their relationship documented in words. "Every card you've ever given me," she said, setting the box between them. "Every love note. Every thinking of you text that I screenshot. 5 years of proof that you love me. And I still couldn't believe it. That's on me, not you." David picked up a card from their first anniversary, his handwriting neat inside. 365 days of loving you, and I'm just getting started." "What's different," Amelia continued, "is that I'm going to stop needing proof. I'm going to choose to believe in us, even when my broken parts scream otherwise. Because you've earned that faith 1,000 times over, and I'm tired of dishonoring that." He was quiet, reading through more cards. Finally, he looked up. "You kept all of these?" "Every word. I pull them out when the voices get too loud. When my dad's ghost tries to convince me I'm unlovable." She laughed bitterly. "Lot of good they did me yesterday. Yesterday you listened to your sister instead of these, David pointed out. Yesterday I was an idiot. Yeah, he agreed. You were. They sat with that truth between them, not softening it with platitudes. I have a confession too, David said eventually. Last night, after you fell asleep, I did something. Her heart sank. What? He pulled out his phone, showing her a voice recording. I recorded a message. For you. In case things got really bad financially and you started to doubt yourself. Can I hear it? He hit play, and his voice filled the kitchen. Hey Mel, if you're listening to this, things have gotten tough and you're probably spiraling. So let me remind you of some truths. You are not your job. You are not your paycheck. You are the woman who makes me laugh every single day. You are the person I want to tell every piece of good and bad news. You are my best friend, my lover, my partner, and my future. Money comes and goes. Jobs come and go. But you're forever. So take a breath, remember that I love you, and let's figure this out together. Always together. Amelia was crying again, but these tears felt different. Cleaner somehow. You recorded that last night. At 3 a.m. I couldn't sleep, and I kept thinking about how you might blame yourself. How you might think you were a burden. He put his phone away. I never got to play it for you because you were too busy testing me to actually need me. I'm sorry, she whispered. God, David, I'm so sorry. I know. He stood, moving to the window. I've been thinking about trust. How it's like a plate. Once it's broken, you can glue it back together, but you'll always see the cracks. Her heart sank. So we're broken forever? Maybe. Or maybe. He turned back to her. Maybe we're Japanese kintsugi. You know, where they repair broken pottery with gold. Make the repaired piece more beautiful than the original. You think we can be that? I think we can try. But Amelia, I need you to understand. This is your one free pass. There won't be another. If you test me again, if you lie to me again about something this big, we're done. No matter how much I love you. I understand, she said quickly. I swear, David, never again. Don't swear. Just do better. They stood there, the kitchen suddenly feeling too small for all their hurt and hope. What now? She asked. Now. Now you go to work tomorrow and have a normal day at your job you never lost. I'll go to mine. We'll come home and have dinner and pretend things are normal while we figure out what our new normal looks like. And Sunday we have dinner with my mother, who will probably lecture you about trust while simultaneously trying to set you up with better therapists than whoever you find. A small smile played at his lips. She's already texted me 3 names. Your mother is terrifying and wonderful, Amelia said. Yes, she is. And she loves you despite this. That should tell you something about the family you married into. He moved toward the stairs, then paused. I'm sleeping in the guest room tonight. I just need some space to process all this. Okay, she said, though it felt like another blow. They'd never slept apart when both were home. David, thank you. For not leaving. For being willing to try. Don't thank me yet, he said quietly. We have a long way to go. After he went upstairs, Amelia sat alone in their kitchen, surrounded by the remnants of their disrupted day. The coffee cups from morning, when she'd been living a lie. The spreadsheet David had made of job opportunities, still open on his laptop. The note he'd left her. Everything's going to be okay. She picked up her phone and opened a new message to Sophia. I told him the truth. He's hurt but staying. I almost lost everything because I couldn't trust something good. Don't be like me. If you have a good man, believe in him. Sophia's response was immediate. OMG, what happened? But Amelia didn't reply. She was done discussing her marriage with people who didn't understand it. Instead, she opened her laptop and started researching therapists who specialized in abandonment issues and trust. When we test the people we love, what are we really looking for? Proof they'll stay, or permission to leave? Let me know your thoughts below. The next morning felt surreal. Amelia woke in their bed alone, dressed for work like nothing had happened, and found David already gone. He'd left coffee made and a note. Have a good day at your job. D. The formal sign-off hurt more than anger would have. At work, she went through the motions. Her boss congratulated her again on the Henderson account. Her co-workers chatted about weekend plans. Everyone asked if she was feeling okay. Apparently, she looked tired. Just some stuff at home, she said vaguely, and they respectfully didn't pry. During lunch, her phone buzzed. A text from David. Therapy appointment booked for Tuesday at 6. Dr. Martinez comes highly recommended. Individual or couples? She typed back. Couples. Your individual is your responsibility to schedule. The distance in his texts was like a constant ache. She missed their usual banter, the silly emojis, the love you sign-offs. I booked individual for Monday at 5. Dr. Sarah Kim. Good. That was it. Just good. She stared at her phone, willing him to say more, but nothing came. The weekend passed in a strange limbo. David was polite but distant. They ate meals together, watched TV in the same room, did chores side by side. But he didn't touch her casually like usual. No hand on her back while cooking, no playing with her hair during movies, no goodnight kisses. This is killing me, she admitted Saturday night as they cleaned up after dinner. Good, he said, not unkindly. Maybe now you understand how I felt when I thought you were suffering and I couldn't fix it. Is this punishment? No. He dried a plate carefully. This is me figuring out how to be married to someone who could lie to me so easily. I need time, Amelia. You had days to plan your deception. Give me at least that long to process it. Sunday dinner with his mother was exactly as predicted. Mrs. Chun served all of Amelia's favorite dishes while delivering a masterclass in subtle disappointment. Trust, she said, passing the green beans, is like a garden. It takes years to grow and seconds to destroy. But with careful tending, even damaged gardens can bloom again. Very subtle, Mom, David said dryly. I'm not being subtle. If I were being subtle, I wouldn't have brought out the good china for someone who lies to my son. Mom. What? She knows what she did. Don't you, Amelia? Yes, Amelia said quietly. I know exactly what I did. Mrs. Chun studied her for a long moment. Good. Acknowledgement is the first step. David, pass your wife the potatoes. She's too thin. The whiplash of disappointment and care was oddly comforting. This was family, messy, complicated, but ultimately enduring. After dinner, while David helped his mother with dishes, Amelia found herself alone with his father's photo on the mantel. I really screwed up, she told the photo quietly. Your son deserved better than what I did. But I'm going to fix it. I'm going to be the wife he thought he married. Dad would have liked you. David's voice came from behind her. Even after this. He believed in second chances. What about you? She asked, not turning around. Do you believe in them? I'm here, aren't I? She turned to find him holding 2 cups of tea. Jasmine for her, oolong for him. A peace offering, maybe. Or just habit. With David, kindness came so naturally it was hard to tell. Your mom gave me 3 more therapist recommendations, she said, accepting the tea. Of course she did. He sat beside her on the couch, maintaining careful distance. She also slipped me a book about rebuilding trust. She's nothing if not thorough. I like that about her. She doesn't pretend things are okay when they're not. No, David agreed. She doesn't. They sipped their tea in silence, the weight of everything unsaid filling the space between them. Can I ask you something? Amelia said finally. Sure. What was the worst part? The lie itself, or what the lie said about us? David considered this. What it said about us. That after everything we've been through, you still saw me as someone who might abandon you. That our whole life together wasn't enough evidence that I'm not your father. You're nothing like him, she said firmly. I know that. You're the one who doesn't. The truth of it stung. My therapist is going to have a field day with me. Probably. But that's good. You need to understand why you did this, or we'll just be waiting for the next test. There won't be a next test. You say that now. But what about the next time Sophia puts doubts in your head? Or when we have kids and money gets tight? Or when life gets hard in ways we can't predict? She set down her tea, turning to face him fully. Then I'll remember this week. I'll remember what it felt like to see you pull away. I'll remember that testing love is the surest way to lose it. I hope so, he said quietly. Because I can't do this again, Amelia. I won't. Monday's therapy session was brutal. Dr. Kim was kind but unrelenting, excavating childhood wounds Amelia had buried under years of achievement and control. You test people because you believe love is conditional, Dr. Kim observed. If you can find their breaking point, you feel you've proven what you always suspected, that you're not worthy of unconditional love. But I am loved unconditionally. David's proven that over and over. Has he? Or has he simply not been tested in the way you fear most? I tested him. He passed. Did he pass? Or did you simply traumatize both of you to confirm what you already knew? The question haunted her all the way home. She found David cooking dinner, music playing softly. For a moment, she just watched him. This man who still cooked for her even when hurt, who still came home even when disappointed. "How was therapy?" he asked without turning around. "Hard. Necessary. I have homework." "Oh, I'm supposed to write a letter to my father. Tell him how his leaving affected me. Then burn it." David finally looked at her. "That sounds intense." "Yeah. Dr. Kim doesn't mess around." She hesitated. "How was your day?" "Fine. Marcus asked if you found a new job yet." Her stomach dropped. "What did you tell him?" "The truth. That you never lost your job and I'm married to a liar." "David, I'm kidding. I told him you were exploring options." He turned back to the stove. "But it was tempting. I'm sorry you have to cover for my lie." "I'm not covering. I'm choosing not to share our business with coworkers." "There's a difference." They ate dinner quietly, the space between them feeling both vast and fragile. "Our appointment is tomorrow," David said as they cleaned up. "Are you ready?" "Are you?" "No," he admitted. "But I don't think ready is the point." Tuesday's couples therapy was even harder than individual. Dr. Martinez had them sit facing each other while Amelia explained not just what she'd done, but why. "I was so scared of being left that I created a situation where leaving would make sense," she said, forcing herself to maintain eye contact with David. "If you left because I lied, at least I'd understand why. If you left just because I wasn't enough, that would destroy me. So you decided to destroy us first?" David asked, his voice raw. "I didn't think of it that way. I thought I was protecting myself. From me. You were protecting yourself from me. From losing you. By lying to me. I know it doesn't make sense." "No, it makes perfect sense," Dr. Martinez interrupted. "It's self-sabotage. Classic abandonment-wound behavior. The question is, what do we do now?" If you want to listen to the complete story, check in tomorrow for part 2.